This is a very important part. If you want quickly, you can note down a few things. The basic principles of light. Okay. So that's so important. I would want you to really look at this, observe, and as we go along, I'll tell you how we are going to use this in your daily photography work. Okay. Let's look at a quote by Ansel Adams. Have you heard of Ansel Adams? Right. Ansel Adams is this great American photographer, highly regarded by many. I'm sure none of us were born during his time, right? So he said something amazing. He said, you don't take a photograph, you make a photograph. So what we are practicing sometimes is we just take a quickly click and go, but you make a photograph, right? So, okay, there's a question. We'll quickly go to that question. Tell something, Donald is asking, tell something about using external mics in wildlife shooting. Okay. So Donald, unfortunately, we are not covering anything related to video here. We are covering mostly photography. As you see, the heading is Introduction to Digital Photography, and mics and audio is a very vast area. We are not going to discuss about the wildlife shooting of video part, right? Okay. Let's move along. Okay. So Ansel Adams says, you don't take a photograph, you make it, right? So when I go to a scene, when I go into a room, when I step into an event, or what I do is I quickly do a scan of it, right? And what I do is I want to make a photograph. I just don't want to take a photograph, because that's what you do as a professional. So what you need to do is you need to have a mentality of making a photograph. So that will separate you from the others, because others will just take a photograph. What do you do? You click. Oh, lasanai. We are just taking a photograph. I don't do that because that photo will not come out right anyway. For your eyes, it looks nice, but it won't look beautiful because it's not composed right. You're not using the rules. You're not stopping enough time to absorb the scene. What I would do is I say, stop the van, get down, stop the car, and then analyze the scene and take it. Right? So that's what you need to do as a professional. Don't take a photograph, you make it. Right? You didn't hear it from me. You heard it from the great Ansel Adams. Okay, let's move along. Right. Okay. So very important topic. This is very vast, but I'm going to very quickly explain to this. Contrast in photography. So you might know the term contrast. Contrast means difference. We say contrast in natural terms. Contrast. So contrast there are in so many modules in studies. Contrast in design. Contrast in that. So what is contrast in photography? Contrast is one of those. There's a whole heap of definitions for contrast, but for us we have to look at contrast is the difference between the brightest point and the darkest point in an image. Okay, so there's a bright point in an image, there's a dark point. You need to learn to study an image, right? So that's the difference in contrast. You need to study a scene whether they have more contrast or less contrast, right? So basically it's the difference between the darkest and the lightest point in a scene, right? So what happens when you use this contrast it cleverly, you can direct your viewers attention. Let's quickly look at this man. I think he's an African origin. You can say he's an African origin, right? So and he's holding oranges in the back of his hands. So just go through this and tell me whether it's a high contrast or a low contrast. I'm talking about difference in contrast. So his skin tone is a dark skin tone, no? And then the oranges are very bright. They have used a nice light to show it. And can you see this image is very, very beautiful. It's telling us a beautiful story. Why? Contrast is used a lot against his skin. When they have kept the oranges, the contrast it's giving his image is beautiful. So let's say we kept dark colored grapes on his hand. What would have happened? Just think about it. Always expand your thinking. His skin tone is dark and the grapes are dark black color or dark purplish, and there's no contrast, there's no difference, so the picture may not look that beautiful. So let's take a person with white skin, very white, and then you put the grapes. What will happen? There's a contrast, it may look nice. Okay, so contrast is very important, cleverly used, it's very beautiful. Now look at this scene. This is one of my clients. This is Port City. I did a shoot for them. And if you look at it, the contrast is used nicely. Now, compared to that man and that scene, now this is a couple. We want to show nice, airy, bright, beautiful, happiness flowing. We don't want to show a lot of contrast. We want to show less contrast, right? So if you look at it, if you look at, can you find a really bright point and a really dark point? There is less, no? There is, the hair is black. But if you look at the overall scene, it's not a lot of contrast. That will give you this airy feeling. That will give you this, what do you call this, feeling of, because they are in love, So contrast, when cleverly used, it will give you this feeling and would help you direct the viewer's eye to your picture, right? Okay, let's quickly go through these highlights, shadows, and midtones. Have you heard about this or not? You can put it in the chat. Very important in a picture. A picture contains all these three things. It also will contain blacks and whites, but highlights, shadows, and midtones, right? So the image will have all these three things, right? Highlights are the brightest part of an image. Shadows are the darkest part of an image. Midtones are anything in between, right? So you get two extremes. One extreme is the highlight, the other extreme is the shadows, and everything in between is the midtone. So this is very important when you take this image to your editing software, Lightroom, let's say, or Lumina, whatever. If you know what is happening in that image with these three things, you can manipulate and create beautiful images, right? Okay, let's look at this example, right? Yeah, let's look at this example. A beautiful scene, right? So can you just go through this? I want you all to study this image, right? Look at the sky on the left corner, look at the waterfall, and then look at the corner of the right side bottom area, and then study where are the highlights, where are the midtones, where are the shadows. You don't have to be 100% precise. Don't be scared. Just look at it. Where should the highlights be normally? It's in the sun. It's a dusk, I think, scene, or early morning scene, and then you study this. And on the waterfall, if you observe, there are highlights, very white, bright part of the image. Where is your eyes naturally drawn to? It's drawn to that part of that image. See how skillfully, it's not my photograph, it's how skillfully the photographer has shot this picture, where your eyes are drawn to the waterfall because of that bright part, right? And how the rest of the scene is playing into that waterfall. How if you had just shot the waterfall, zoom right into the water, not that great image, no? So how are the highlights? How are the shadows, the midtones, how they are playing in making this image look stunning and showing the landscape, right? So you must study an image. You go to a location, you go to a scene, study those things. Let's say a bird is there, a leopard is there on a hill, a bird is there on a tree, and behind it's all blown out. You can take that picture, that's okay, but behind no detail at all. You need to know that the highlights also exist so that you can work around and create a good image, right? Let's quickly move along. So this is an image without any contrast. Can you see? Does it look nice to you? Anyone? Does this picture look very nice to you? No, it's not. No, because it's low contrast, something we called low contrast. We called in film terms, we call it flat image, in log image, where there's no contrast. Film is normally shot like this, and then color, contrast, blacks are added to it, right? So here, no contrast. If you see, can you see a really bright point anywhere in the image? A really dark point so that there is a difference? No, you can't see. That's why it's low contrast. It does not look very nice. Let's go to the next image. Same image. Contrast is added to this image. Color is added to this image. What happens now? Can you see? There is a point, say in the rock here, rock below here, down here. There is a highlighted point. And then you look at the grass over on your left corner. Grass, it's dark. Can you see? So there is a difference. And when there is a right amount of contrast, the image looks very pleasing to the eye. So not a good contrast, not low contrast, good amount of contrast. So use contrast in your images, right? Let's quickly move along. The principles of light, the basics of light, direction of light, color of light, and the quality of light. You need to know these things thoroughly. You need to know these basics thoroughly, right? I'm moving along a little faster. Direction of light. What do you mean by the direction of light? right? So light travels in a direction, right? So can you see shadows behind me? Let me just stop this slide for a while. Can you see slide shadows? Can you see a shadow behind me? So what do you think? I have an LED light right at the top, lighting me, illuminating me, right? I have big windows on this side, illuminating me, but this is the key light, illuminating me. So if light didn't have direction, what would happen? There won't be shadows here. This side of my face won't be lit, right? So that's direction of light. Light travels in a direction, right? That's number one. Number two, it bounces off surfaces. Number two, you can see it will bounce off surface. That's why you can see photographers at events, next time you observe, they use the flash up. And people come and ask me, why did you bring the flash in the first place? You are using it up. Now, what are we doing? We are trying to find a white wall or white ceiling, somewhere to bounce that flash, so that that will bounce off that and come to your face. That's when it will look nice. Okay, so it bounces off surfaces. That's why you have all these bounce cards in film and all. They use all these bounce cards to, it bounces off surface. So because of these things, can look different from where we are looking at. So when you are looking at me from this angle, it's different. When you look at me from that angle, because the light is coming from different directions, so viewer can view it differently, right? Let's quickly move along. Okay, it has direction, it reflects, it bounces, and it can be blocked. The fourth point is light can be blocked. How can I show this to you? Now let's say I'm keeping this light on my face, right? Let me stop the slide for a while, right? Can you see my, because of the direction of the light, see the top part of my eyes, there's a shadow, right? Top part of my eyes has a shadow. And I take it, it's gone when it's there. So it can be also blocked. So in big productions, they have things called gobos. Gobos are black things that also block the light. So as much as you need the light, it's beautiful to block it and remove light off. As chat. Okay, Varuna has asked, bouncing only for white wall. Yes, reason being, no, you can bounce it off any wall. Reason being, now when you bounce a light off a white wall, white doesn't have a color, no? So let's say you're bouncing your flash, it won't give you another color. But let's say if I'm bouncing off a yellow wall, it's going to give you yellow color that's coming off that wall. That's the reason why we won't tell you bounce it off a white wall. And so the top of my house, this office room is wood panels. So wood panels are brown or orangish in nature. If I bounce it off that panel, it's going to catch that color and bring it down. If you bounce it off a green wall, it's going to give a green light. So that's why I specifically said bounce it off a white wall. So thankfully, a lot of modern houses have white. White is a nice color, and white is simple to the eye. It bounces more light. It brings room to your room environment. So that's why, Varuna, we say bounce it off a white wall, because it won't give any color cast. That's the right word. It won't, the color of what the wall is, it won't bring it to your subject. I'll look yellow, I look blue, I look green. It look ugly. That's why we say bounce it off a white wall or a white ceiling. Right? So if you look at this quickly, we go through this. We have lens filter adjustments. Look at the top car, the same car, but the top picture on the right side of the doors, two doors, passenger seat doors, you can see there's a reflection of the flow. And why is the reflection? Naturally, you get a reflection. But if you look at the same car at the bottom, that door, you don't see a reflection. How do they do that? They have a filter adjustment which you put in front of your lens. So this is a filter. This is KNF concept. This is a variable ND filter. You can see variable ND filter. Okay. This is also Hoya. Hoya is a good brand. Variable ND filter. Okay. You put this in front of your lens. What this does is, we call this, I'm forgetting this, lens adapter. You put it in front of that lens. It will cut the reflections of certain surfaces. So it's called a circular polarizing filter. So what it has done is, when you put that filter on the image below, the circular polarizing filter has removed all those reflections, right? Let's move to the next image. If you look at the picture on the left, The water, same settings, everything is the same, except that the right picture, they have put this circular polarizing filter. When you put the circular polarizing filter, if you can see, I don't know, this image is not that great. On the right side, you can see better in under the water, you can see better. In the left side image, it's get a little bit blurry. You can't, the reflections are not letting you see. But the right side, if you put the filter, it cuts the glare on the surface of the water. You can see below. So if you're shooting water beds, this is very good circular polarizing filter. But don't use this on humans. It gives a different effect, right? So direction of light. So I spoke to you about direction of light. I'm talking about direction of light. Look at the left picture and look at the right picture, right? Looks like a morning scene or a late evening scene. Can you put it in chat? What's the direction of the light in the first picture? What's the direction of the light? Oh, just think it in your mind. Just observe the light. And what's the direction of the light in the second picture? Right? Right? What do you see? Observe the light. Always you need to have the mind to observe the light in any given scenario. Right? You walk in, your mind needs to be tuned to see this like that. Before anyone else, you need to see this. Right? Left side picture, let me explain. Left side picture, can you see? The light is coming from the front. That means the photographer, he is shooting and behind him is the sun hitting on this subject from the front. So that direct sunlight from the front. Second picture on the right, now the photographer is against the light. He is facing the light. And now it's illuminating the subject from the front. We call it backlit. We call it a backlit. So it's illuminating the subject from the front. But for the photographer, the light is coming from the front, right? So you need to observe this always. Now look at this scene. You see this in movies, So where is the light? The light, the key light is coming from beneath her. When you look at this picture, what do you feel? Happy? What do you feel? Beautiful, like a wedding photo. No. What do you feel? What's the emotion you get? Fear. So what sort of a movie is this? A horror movie. See, if you put nice bright lighting and the ghost is coming, the Dracula is coming, won't look realistic, right? So look at where the direction of light is. Always when the light is kept lower, I'll just show you quickly, very quickly. And I have a small LED light attachment here. I use it for it's a very good light. So look at this. Let me just stop the sharing and look at this light. Is this pleasing? Do you want to see me in this light? No, you don't want to see me in this light, right? So this is not pleasing. This is for horror. Look at my eyes. Makes me look a little bit scary. So don't be scared, right? So this is, that's a different type of lighting. So see, can you see when I'm like this and when I put that light on, how the mood of the whole scenario changed? So direction of light matters a lot. In all general scenarios, you're going to use this lighting, what I'm having right now, the LED light from the top, not this horror movie lighting, right? So there's color also. I'll talk about color later. Look at this lighting, very frightening image. I don't want to come to this slide also, I skip it. But look at the color. Look at the color. Study that image. Where is the light coming from? Only lit her. No, mysterious. Only the face is lit. Everything around is very mysterious, right? So direction of light. And backlit. So traditionally they say don't use backlit, but look at this picture. It's so beautiful, combined with the water sparkles that are coming from the back. Right? Quickly, we are moving along. So 3-point lighting, very basic lighting in a studio setup. Backlight, key light, and fill light. I'm not going to harp and take time there. 3-point lighting. 3-point lighting, I told you, same thing, but look at the difference. So what we do is first we on the key light. So let's say this light in front of me is the key light, right? And then we do the rim light. The rim light is the side light, okay? Backlight or rim light, this side lighting, right? And then we have the fill light. So what we call is, now look at the first image on the left, right? So let's say my first light is coming from the left side of my face, right? And then I have shadows, because there's one light, there's shadows on this side. So what do I do? Why do I call it key light? Because it's the first light. The first light that's lighting the whole scenario. That's the key, right? Then we have the fill light. What do you mean by fill light? Okay, this guy is having shadows on his neck. Can you see? Under his chin, shadows. The fill light is filling these shadows, right? I don't want to talk about this more. Let's quickly move along. Color of light. I hope you got the idea there, right? So 3-point lighting, that's basic. Normally you use 3-point lighting, but today you can just use one light and also film a lot of scenarios, right? 3-point lighting. So that's direction of light number one. Observe everywhere you go, just observe the direction of the light. And that's the reason why you shoot early in the morning. Why? When you go to do wildlife, why do you shoot early in the morning or in the evening? Because the light is coming in this direction. The sun has not come to the top. What happens when the sun comes to the top? Let me show that also, because I don't think you will get it if I don't show you, right? So let me stop this. I showed you earlier this light, horror movie lighting, right? Why don't we shoot during noonday, especially if you are a wildlife person? Why don't we shoot during noonday? Look at this. Look at this lighting. Does it look very pleasing? Look at the shadows under my eyes. Shadows under my eyes. Look at my forehead. Too much of harsh shadow. Does it look pleasing? No. So because there are shadows under your eyes, it doesn't look that pleasing. So that's why we don't shoot during that time. We do shoot, but then we use different techniques to take them to the shade, to use external lights to fill the shadows and all that. But when you're shooting wildlife, preferably you shoot during morning and evening hours, right? That's the direction of light. Okay, so you can't control the sun, so you have to go during the certain hours. So next one is color of light. Very important, again, color of light. So sunlight varies in color greatly, and this color is measured in temperature, as temperature in degrees of Kelvin. So not the heat temperature Kelvin is different. This color temperature Kelvin is different. Okay, so you have cooler colors and you have warmer colors. You have cooler colors and you have warmer colors, right? So now you let me I'll show you pictures. It's easier. So you have cooler colors and warmer colors, right? So white balance. What we do in white balance is adjust these colors to match the light source. So let's say this color is coming out a little yellow. You can take your camera. You can use the Kelvin numbers or use any preset in the Kelvin numbers. Change so that my face doesn't look yellow or doesn't look blue, but it looks properly color balanced, right? So we call it white balance because we want the whites in the scene to look white. I want this wall, if I had balanced it differently in my camera, this wall will look yellow or this wall might look too blue. So I have color balanced it in order to look the right white. So that's why we call it white balance, right? Again, Kelvin is used as white balance. There are numbers. You got 5500 Kelvin is the color of sunlight, natural light. You have warm colors and cooler colors. And then you have something called white balance. If we mess up our balance, color balance, we bring it to the editing table and we balance it so that the whites will look white. Is that clear? I'm going a little faster because of time. Okay. Okay. Candlelight. Candlelight, you can just picture this. Is it warm light or cool light? Right? It will be on the warmer side. Candlelight is warm light. So in Kelvin, it's anything below 3000 Kelvin. I know the numbers, so you must understand to learn it in that context. The numbers then it's very easy. If you don't know the numbers, you'll have to go and fiddle with it for a long time. That's not very professional, right? Okay. Shot in the evening, let's say Antarctic, Arctic, whatever. Blue light or early morning light is blue light. So this is a cooler color. So that was warmer. This is cooler, right? Moving along, moving along. So can you see the numbers? So you can. So when you come to the cooler situation, what do? You put your Kelvin numbers toward the 6000, 7000, 8000. Then what happens? Then this scene where you saw the ice as blue, it will become white. Because now you see the scene and say, okay, this is blue. I must set my color temperature towards the 6000, 7000 and the 9000. Now I get a white shot. The ice color white as white. Okay. Snow as white. Okay. So these are the numbers, right? So since we will be doing in our paid course, we'll be doing this in very detail. We have an 8-week course. We'll be doing that in detail, right? So this is, you can see the right picture of this child is incorrect white balance. Do you really like that too orange skin tone? For some movies, artistic, yes, but look at the left side image. It's the corrected white balance. So you put it into editing software and correct it so that this child's skin tone looks the right color and the white in the picture looks white. Okay, moving along. Some examples. So a cloudy day sky will give you 6,000. If you put it to 6,500 Kelvin, you'll get white balance on a cloudy day. I told you daylight or midday sun, 5,500. The Kelvin numbers, you can set it, right? So in the same way, candlelight, you move down order, orangey colors, you come to 3,000 and 2,000 and below, right? So in your camera, now this is a Canon camera, Sony or Nikon, they will basically have the same setup. You have a lot of settings to do this, right? You will have the auto white balance. Most of you will shoot in auto white balance, will give inconsistent results, right? And then you have for various scenarios. You can see this house thingy, that's a shadow. If you look at the bulb, that's that bowler bulb, that color, right? And you have at the right end, you see K, that's the manual setting. You can set your own Kelvin. So as a professional, I set my own Kelvin. So I get consistent results. Okay, moving along very fast. Now, this is the question that Varuna asked. He said, Canon is pinkish, Nikon is blue, yellowish, greenish. So what you can do is a little bit advanced. You can go into your camera. You can set this. Let's say I want whether Canon or Nikon or Sony. I can set my tint color. Let's say I feel it's too pinkish. I can bring these dots to greener side and say, hey, from now onwards, shoot this a little bit more green. Right? I'll stop there. This is a little bit advanced. We will be talking that in our other course. Right? So here is the image left and right. Left one, if you look, there's a color cast. I don't know, you can see it in zoom. There's a greenish blue. Look at the sky, it's not proper blue. It's not giving that dusk blue. The castle or the church is not in proper color, very greenish, very muddy, very ugly. And then you take it to the editing software. You take it to editing software, you color balance it. Now look at the castle on the right side. A good color, nice yellow. Look at the sky, pinkish, dusky color, gives the mood, gives the vibe. So you need to learn how to white balance. Okay, how to white balance in camera. I'm not going to go through this example. If it's a candlelit scene, you need to know the Kelvin number or put that setting to candle. There's a candle market. Okay, midday sun, put it to daylight setting or change it manually with the Kelvins. Okay, so that's why you call it white balance, because you need to show the white in the scene as white. If it's blue, if it's yellow, orange, it's wrong, right? Okay, that's number 2. We finished color of quality of light, color of light, direction of light. We looked at. Now number 3, third one is the quality of light. Okay, what is this quality of light, right? As well as the color light being dark or light, light can be hard or soft. Light will not hit your face hard or soft. What I mean is, let me explain this to you, right? So according to the size of the light source and how far it is from the subject, it can be hard or soft, right? So let me explain this to you very easily. Again, I'll bring in my LED light. So now look at this big light. Now this is a bigger source. I have a big light here. I have put a small umbrella on it, so that that light source is relatively big. And relative to me, it's not that far away. It's close to me. It's about 3 feet, 4 feet away from me. Now look at this light, right? Let me bring this light in. This is a small light. Okay, I don't want to put it directly to the camera. It's a small light. See, it fits in my palm. Let me switch off that. This is a small light. It fits in my palm, right? Now look at this light. What does it do to my face? It's ugly, it's not right. There's something wrong. Small light source, let's say it's far or close, it's giving an unpleasant light because the light source is very small, right? So now, but if you look at the other light here, it's a big light source. It's relatively closer to me and it's giving a very pleasing light on my face. So this small light gave hard light, okay, hard light on patch on the face. This big light made an umbrella. Bigger light source is giving me soft light. See, soft. My skin tone is nice and soft. In film sets, they use massive lights to give a very soft, pleasing light. Okay, that's what we mean by the quality of light. The quality of light is hard light, smaller light source, or a big light source. That's why they put these umbrellas, these soft boxes, and everything reflectors to give a soft light. Okay. Hard light, soft light, the size of the light source matters. So this is a light source, no? It's emitting light. That big LED is a light source, it is emitting light. The bigger it is, it will give me pleasing light, but relative to the subject. Now the sun is also huge. How big is it? Here, 1.3 million Earths could fit inside the sun. But what's the problem? Why does it give harsh light? Because the distance between me and the sun, or us and the sun, is very far. That's why in the noonday it's giving harsh light. But if it were closer, it might give soft light, but we'll die anyway then, right? So, right, distance. So I told you size of the light, distance of the light, right? So that's why we bounce the light off the walls and the ceiling. Why do we do that? Now this flash head, this flash head, it's a small light source, right? It's a small light source. Let me quickly get out of here. This is the size of the light source, right? So if I directly fire it at your face, it will look harsh light, right? I shoot people normally, right? If you directly shoot it at, let's say, macro photography at a bird or small insect macro, it look very harsh. So, but if I bounce this off this wall, this whole wall becomes a soft box. That whole up ceiling becomes a soft box, and that light reflecting on me will give a soft light source. Right? That's why we bounce it off the walls. Is that very clear? I hope it's very clear, right? Okay. Right, let me screen share again. Okay, so hard light and soft light explained. What is that? A large light source closer to the subject will result in soft light. A large light source that's further away will result in hard light. A small light source will result in a hard light. Okay. So what we call this a large light source closer to me will something called the wraps around the subject. So it's on the left side, but can you see the light is coming also here, no? All over my face on this side. It's wrapping around. Now you can just study this image, whether it's a soft light or a hard light. If you have hard edged shadows, we call it hard light. Look at the shadows on this lady's face. Not a picture we would normally take, very artistic. Look at the shadows, very hard lines. No, not so. Now if you look at my face, there are shadows, but very soft. The gradient, the smoothness of the shadows is very soft. This is a hard light. So learn to observe a scene, learn to observe someone standing, hard light or soft light. Look at this. This is how commercials we see when you shoot humans normally. This is soft light. This is the perfect lighting for movies, scenarios, indoor lighting, commercials. We want this beautiful wraparound light where they're showing the product is all you want, commercial lighting. Just move along, hard light. This lady on the left, same lady, two different light sources, lady on the left, a hard light, the lady on the right, soft light. So different artistic uses you can use, but lady on the right is soft light. Right? So in order to achieve this soft light, we use different light shaping tools, soft or hard light. That's why we have umbrella, softbox, beauty dish, flash modifiers. On top of the flash, we put all these modifiers. That the light will be softer. Okay. Reflectors, we carry these big reflectors to reflect light. Okay. So in nature, what we do is we select the time. So if you're a bird photographer, or a wildlife photographer, you can't use the flash to capture a lion, so next thing you'll be in the lion's tummy with your flash. So we can't use that. So what do? We have to use the timing. So sun comes up in this direction. Okay, nice light, side light directing, softer light. So we shoot in the mornings and the evenings. Top of the sun, not very pleasing. Shadows. So we shoot in the mornings and evening, right? Shoot in the golden time. Here is that picture of the same couple. What happened here? Evening light, but the sun was covered fully. And clouds became like a soft light. So it was also evening around 4 o'clock, but the sun was hiding behind the clouds, is coming through the clouds. So the whole clouds became like a soft light. So we don't have to use any lighting. We just kept on shooting with the available light. So this is a soft light. It's a pleasing light on your face. Right. That module is over. We're quickly moving on to Q&A. Anything you need to learn about light, ask this. Don't sway away from the topic, right? Ask anything you need to learn about lighting, color, point. Let's quickly take 2 minutes. Any questions? No questions. All thorough. So tomorrow, yes. Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Hi. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me, Aaron?
Yeah, I can hear you. You are?
Yeah. Thank you so much for your informative webinar. Actually, it's very informative because we didn't know about these such. Small things about photography.
Hmm.
So thank you very much. And it's not a question at all, but small thing. Do you have any plan to start any course like that? I mean, regarding photography.
Yes, you are Rumesh, no Rumesh. Yes, Rumesh. Yes, we actually do. I have been personally anyway doing a lot of webinars, and I teach personally. I go visit some people and I also teach. But through the Amazing Birds community, we are planning to do different workshops. So now what you have learned is a very small part
Yeah.
of photography. So what we want to do is we want to expand it. We have another course which is a basic of photography. That's 8 weeks, and then we do a practical along with that. So in that we will teach you in depth, and we will most important thing is what we are how we are different is we will give you a personalized service. So we make sure that we personally look into everything that you are doing, and so that we can guide you through it. And we have only a specific number, we don't accommodate a huge crowd into our classes. We keep it to that specific number so that we can personally support you and guide you. So that will be the first part. From after today we will be releasing the first classes session of basics in photography, and after that we will have small themed sections of teaching. What will that be like? For example, kids photography editing, how to shoot kids, right? Or how to shoot family portraits, right? How to record audio, we can touch into video part as well. So all that in the future, starting from next year, we will have small segments of basic photography along with those segments. If you follow the Amazing Birds page, we will keep on updating in that page of our future events, right? Thank you so much for that question, Rumesh.
Okay. Thank you so much for the information. Actually, we'll be in touch with you and the page. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rumesh. Thanks a lot. Thank you for that question. Right. So anyone else have a question on this topic? Right. Okay, Siva is heading off. Thank you, Siva. Thank you for being with us today. We will catch up with you in the future. Please keep in touch. Right. Okay, so we are not having any questions. We have about 15 minutes. Let's quickly move on to our last module. Yes.